Meow.
Hey guys, it's me Ozzy, and today is a video I've been putting off for probably about 2 years because I started these customs and for whatever reason it just took me forever to actually finish them. Yeah, the Dalek variants in this story are very strange. They're interesting because they're taken from fans, which is always quite cool, but at the same time they're very rickety and they are very classic, if you get what I mean, in a Destiny of the Daleks kind of way. I don't mind the blue addition to the shoulder section, but I still think it looks very jarring, especially when one model has blue on it and the other one has grey, and you think, for God's sake guys, make your goddamn mind up which one you're going to use. But that's a tangent for another video. So let's get on with these customs. Now I'm going to be splitting this video up hopefully into 4 parts. There's going to be the 60s Daleks, which we've got here. We've got the 80s, I think that was only one, with the Renegade Dalek and the Special Weapons Dalek. Then we've got the new series Daleks, which is the Supreme Dalek Sec and a Destroyed Dalek, and just some cool variants which I actually quite like. And then we have a mysterious 4th part. Now you're thinking, what? Now the 4th part will be some Dalek variants which people either don't know about or just haven't been vocal about, which were in The Witch's Familiar. So let's start off with the most basic first. Okay, so this one is just an Emperor's Guard Dalek. Well, it was a Chase Guard Dalek from the B&M, then I swapped the head off with just a spare. It was in my spares box, and all I've done for this is paint the pupil blue, which, as you can see, that's all this variant was in the episode. So it's not much of a variant, but it's got to be in the list somewhere. I think this is a really good custom use for the B&M Chase Dalek sets, because obviously they're inaccurate and it's kind of cool to just make some Witches Familiar variants with them. So that's all there is for this one. So secondly, we just have the Chase version, or Power version, or whatever you want to call it, with the blue pupil and the blue midsection. Now, obviously the dome lights are incorrect and the hemisphere colour is incorrect, but it's one of those things which I'm willing to gloss over because, obviously, A, I'm not a massive fan of this story, and B, it doesn't really scream out to me that much when it's on display. So, like I said, it's a good effective use of like a spare Chase Dalek or a spare Chase Guard. Just paint the midsection blue and kablam, you got the variant in the episode. So next up we have the Dead Planet Dalek. Now, on first glance you might think it's just a regular repaint. Obviously I've done the midsection, which is actually a different colour from the other ones in the show. It's more of like a tealy kind of greeny blue, whereas the other ones are just a straight light blue. Whereas on this version I have extended the neck piece, because the dome is actually raised in the episode, quite like a lot of classic props, and it just didn't look right when I just did it normally. So I sculpted some milliput on top of the top neck section, and it just makes the head look that much more raised. It has a black band which is inaccurate, but to be honest I think it looks quite cool. I think it makes it look quite nice, and the eye discs are darker just like on the prop as well. And the headlights are more opaque than on other variants. So next up we have the Blink and You Miss It variant, where Missy confronts the Daleks at the end. Same again with the blue eye, this coloured midsection. And to say what I was talking about earlier, the two midsections are in fact different colours in the episode, and obviously this one had a black dome and it was only on screen for a couple of seconds. But I actually quite like this variant quite a lot. I think it doesn't look out of place next to the 60s Daleks. Maybe it's what the evil Emperor Dalek Guard should have looked like, because controversial opinion, I'm not a massive fan of that design either, where they just sprayed the dome black. I mean, obviously I think it was just to save time on production, but it would have been nice to get some new Dalek variants in evil, but regardless, it looks very nice here. So here we have a variant which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. This is the Unseen Cushing Dalek kind of thing. The only difference between this and the actual thing is the fact that there's black on the base, simply because this is an old Peter Cushing movie Dalek custom, and I thought, you know what, I can put it in my Witches Familiar set because it closely resembles that as opposed to the Peter Cushing one. Obviously it's not got the big headlights. It's a nice little variant. The paint job is extremely sloppy because I did this probably about 5 years ago, but honestly on the shelf next to the other Daleks in the set it looks fine. It doesn't really bother me that much. Lastly, we have my favourite variant in the set. So this is a complete repaint from a Day of the Dalek Supreme. A lot of people just use a standard 60s Dalek for their customs, but I thought a complete repaint was necessary because the colours are different and obviously it has an oval in the midsection. In the episode they used a Product Enterprise Dalek and then swapped the base out for a character options one, and it just looked... I love this variant. I just think it looks so very cool. It looks like it could be like a squadron leader in the 60s, so at least I have this to be grateful for the Witcher's Familiar for. Obviously it has the blue. I took artistic license with the eye stalk because I thought, well, if all the others have a blue iris, then I thought I'll just do this for this one as well. Yeah, you might notice that the hemispheres aren't entirely finished because I only did one coat of paint, but I will eventually finish it one day. And it's got an Ironside base, which is a perfect fit for the classic Daleks. I've seen lots of people use the 2005 sculpt or 2006 sculpt, and the base just looks massive and it doesn't quite look right. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this one came out. So yeah, that wraps up the 60s Witcher's Familiar Daleks. Now, I hope you stay tuned to this series because the special 4th instalment will be a very, very cool one, and I kind of took a little bit of artistic license, and I think you guys will really like it. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.